Boston, one of our best colleagues, Hlynur. He's a former student of yours, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
So thanks to him for arranging this. You've been studying Iceland.
We have been studying Iceland. Actually, I began, of course, to be an advocate of Iceland when Hilmer was my student.
Right.
And we've been doing it for a number of years. A couple of years ago, we did the Iceland Naturally Tasting License in Boston. It involved students in that particular campaign. And during that time, became quite excited about the various products because we saw and tasted the distinct aspects. We, of course, ranged for Benny Him Him to come. So the cultural yes, the cultural piece was very nice. The students loved him. Actually, some of them became Benny Him Him groupies and went to Los Angeles when he went to Los Angeles. We had your chef who was at one of our local restaurants for a week, and so it's been a very, very interesting relationship that began then, and then since then, Hilner and I have talked about the various crises that our countries have shared. Last year when we were taking our group to Barcelona, which is a similar type of working conference, public diplomacy. We were diverted because of the volcano and came into Barcelona in the south. So since that time, we've looked at the crisis, financial crisis, as well as the volcanic crisis. And then these students, as I was indicating to your colleague Paul, very, very interesting in that this trip was not advertised. It was basically one where I was coming to see about the possibilities of student exchange programs. And this was word of mouth. Suddenly my graduate assistant said, are you going? I want to go. And it spread. So these students here are here because of interest and excitement. They paid their entire way. There has been nothing that has been given to them in terms of getting here. And I think they've added to the economic value of Iceland because they continue to say, gee, we want to do this, we want to go there. So they have not been doing anything other than trying to see if the ATM card still works. They're having their own financial crisis, but they're enjoying it.
Still working. I mean, your topic is of interest to us. I mean, we were a country that has only maybe had good wind and fortune in our progress the last 50 years, but suddenly, after having topped the UNDP's Quality of Life Index, we were not number 3 or number 4, we were number 1 in the notorious year of 2007. We experienced quite a crisis, which was the financial or the collapse of the commercial banks, economic crisis of almost unknown magnitude. Following that collapse, we saw a severe international dispute with our friends in the UK and the Netherlands because of the so-called IceSave accounts. And when we thought that these two elements weren't enough, then we had our good friend Eyjafjallajökull erupting and causing serious disruption of air traffic. So this came in what, almost a year. Public diplomacy is something that we do every day. We can do better and maybe more systematically. So we are very interested in hearing your views on that. We are a small country and a small foreign service, so we cannot maybe do as much of resources as the largest countries, but that means that we have to be clever. The small one has to be clever in order to reach his goal, his or her goal. So some of my colleagues are here. Urður is the press officer of the ministry. She's been in contact with you in arranging this. Urður Edda, she is the cultural attaché in the ministry, served in several countries in Germany and in China. Urður was working for the OSCE for a number of years. Inga Hlyn is the director at our Promote Iceland agency, which is a new agency.
We got a presentation from me yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. So you know everything about Inga Hlyn.
Yes.
And the busy the ministry is quite busy right now. We are head over heels in preparing the minister's report to Parliament and his speech. And he's also going to Greenland for an Arctic Council meeting, so we're sort of a bit few because everybody is as I say, quite busy with the foreign policy work that's ongoing. So why don't I just give the word to you, Professor Payne, and again, very much welcome to Iceland.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Let's dive into the issues.
Okay, well, first of all, I would like to say thank you once again for the hospitality, for the invitation. It's always good to come and to visit with friends. Of course, as you're going to see, the theme that's going to be running through this presentation is the importance of relationships, and we'll see how public diplomacy invites that. If we look at some of the aspects of public diplomacy, these are some public diplomacy campaigns that I've been involved in or am involved in. And what I have found is my background is political communication. I used to be very much into electoral politics. I still do speech writing. I still am involved in political campaigns. But one thing that I found is, and I always tell my students, you might have some plans, but what you